Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take complex human experiences, distill the essential wisdom from our sources, and give you the communication toolkit you need to navigate them.
Today, we are diving deep into something truly universal and I think deeply felt,
Hmm.
the language of pressure.
Right.
We aren't just talking about stress as, some abstract concept.
Hmm.
We are analyzing the precise conversational scripts people use when they need to articulate that they're under strain.
And how they ask for support. That's the key part.
That is the key.
That's right. Our mission today is critical to synthesize a whole stack of common conversational expressions into an actionable guide for you.
Mm-hmm.
Think of this as a shortcut to communicating your internal state effectively, making sure the message you send actually matches the urgency you feel inside.
The whole point is to move past that generic kind of unsatisfying statement, I'm just stressed.
Yeah, which means nothing.
It means almost nothing. If you want people to truly understand you and, respond in a helpful way, you need communication confidence, and that means using specific natural language.
So let's start with the baseline definition provided in the source material because it's a brilliant way to frame this whole conversation. Stress, at its core, is described as what you feel when something is difficult, heavy, or overwhelming.
And that phrase, difficult, heavy, or overwhelming, that's crucial. It's so crucial because it immediately points to two distinct ways we talk about stress.
Okay.
We either focus on the external heaviness, the objective load, or we focus on the internal feeling of being overwhelmed, which is the personal reaction to it.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Stress isn't monolithic, and the language we choose is, well, it's strategic.
It has to be.
Our sources give us 6 distinct, very high-frequency ways people express being stressed, and we can immediately categorize them based on this external versus internal split you just mentioned.
Exactly. When you're using language that's focused on that external load, you're essentially saying the demands of the world currently exceed my resources.
Right.
And this is often, a bit safer in professional or public settings. It frames the issue as situational, not like a personal failing.
So let's look at those external framing phrases, the ones that really emphasize the load being carried. These are often used when the cause is like traceable to work or deadlines.
Hmm.
The 3 classic examples are, I'm under a lot of pressure, then I've got a lot on my mind, and the one that kind of bridges the gap, things are getting overwhelming.
And what's fascinating about a phrase like, I'm under a lot of pressure,
Hmm?
is how explicitly it points to an external force.
Yeah, it's something pressing down on you.
Exactly. It's a very clean communication.
Mm.
The demands are too high. And it often implies it's a temporary situation.
But then you have the other side of the coin, the internal admission. You contrast that sort of situational framing with phrases that pivot the focus entirely onto the internal reaction, the personal state of coping.
These phrases describe the actual mental and physical toll the pressure is taking, not just the pressure itself. They are often, I'd say, higher stakes admissions because they speak directly to your capacity.
Absolutely. The general state admission is, of course, I'm feeling stressed out.
Sure, we all know that one.
But as we move deeper, we hit the direct impact on capacity. I feel mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
That phrase is so powerful because exhaustion isn't just about feeling tired.
No,
It means the cognitive fuel tank is empty.
it's empty. And this leads us to what is maybe the most direct and sometimes the most difficult internal phrase to say out loud. I'm not coping very well today.
Oof, yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a clear, unvarnished admission of difficulty managing the situation, regardless of the cause.
Yeah.
Using that phrase, it shifts the conversation immediately from like a task management discussion to a well-being check.
So if you are communicating in a high-stakes professional environment, you might lead with the external, I'm under a lot of pressure.
Right.
But if you are talking to a close friend or your partner, you might just jump straight to the internal diagnosis. I feel mentally exhausted.
Exactly. The language is a strategic choice.
Yeah.
It all depends on your audience and, frankly, what you need from them in that moment.
Okay, so once we've successfully diagnosed and articulated the feeling, the natural next step in any conversation is explaining why.
Right.
The cause.
Moving beyond the general feeling, we need to pinpoint the source.
That transition is essential because no one can help you if the cause just remains this nebulous cloud.
Yeah.
The source material breaks down the causes into 5 highly specific conversational explanations. These move the dialogue from a general complaint to something diagnosable.
Let's run through these categories. We see explanations categorized by intensity and source. We start with the external workload, which is the most common stressor. Work has been really intense lately.
Then there's the life category. I'm dealing with personal problems.
Now, wait a minute. You mentioned specificity. Isn't saying I'm dealing with personal problems just as generic as saying I'm stressed?
That's a great question.
How does that phrase actually help the listener?
At first glance, you're right, it seems vague. But the specificity here is strategic. It's not about what the problem is, but where the resource drain is happening. By naming it a personal problem, you are communicating 2 things. First, that the cause is non-work related, and second, that you are establishing a boundary.
A boundary.
A boundary that this issue is private and maybe not up for discussion right now. It separates the stress from the immediate environment.
So it's a boundary setting explanation.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Now let's look at the remaining 3, which deal heavily with resource deficits.
Right.
These are about what you lack, not necessarily what is demanding your time.
Exactly. We see the classic resource deficit in self-care. I haven't been sleeping well. This signals that the stress is starting to manifest physically, and it's reducing your capacity to deal with any pressure, work, or otherwise.
And then we have 2 similar but critically different capacity problems. One is, I'm trying to balance too many things.
And the other is, I feel like I have no time for myself.
Right. They sound similar, but they're not.
The distinction is so subtle but so powerful. Balancing too many things focuses on cognitive overload, too many balls in the air. The solution suggested there is delegation or maybe prioritization.
But when you say, I feel like I have no time for myself, you are communicating a deep resource depletion.
Yeah.
It's a lack of recovery time, a lack of personal space. The issue isn't just the sheer number of tasks. It's the constant surveillance, the lack of a mental escape.
So the solution is different.
Totally different. The solution there is a hard boundary and a time block, not just reorganizing the tasks you already have.
It's the difference between feeling busy, too many things, and feeling trapped. No time for myself. And that is the power of specificity in conversational language. It moves the conversation immediately toward the right kind of solution. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because stress communication is a 2-way street.
Right. It's not just about you.
It's not just about expressing your pressure. It's about responding to others when they express theirs. Our sources analyzed a key conversational script, and it's a brilliant blueprint for effective empathy.
The flow is so natural, but every single step is intentional. It starts not with an accusation, but with an observation and a gentle check-in.
Yeah.
The supportive listener notices the change, maybe physical fatigue or a shift in mood, and asks, hey, you look a little tired today. Everything okay?
That low-stakes question is the invitation. It's the opening for the honest admission. In the sources example, the person admits, I just feel overwhelmed, which is then quickly backed up by these explanations like we just discussed, mentioning being behind on a few deadlines.
And the response is the linchpin of the whole interaction, the whole thing.
It is.
The supportive listener moves immediately to empathy. I get it. I've been there. And then follows up with a concrete offer. Let me know if you need help or a break.
And that right there, that defines the social script for managing stress collectively. The listener validates the feeling before they offer solutions.
Which is so important.
So important. Let's focus on that supportive toolkit, the 5 phrases provided for reaching out and asking someone else about their stress. These are phrases you can, practice right now.
And they're structured to move from general care to specific intervention. Starting with the general check-in. Are you doing okay? Or how are you feeling lately?
That validates the other person's presence and state. Crucially, it asks about them, not about the tasks.
Right. Then you escalate the level of support. You move into offering space to process, which is purely emotional. Do you want to talk about it?
And if you can't offer emotional space, you have to move pretty quickly to practical support.
And that's where the practical phrases come in, which are really bids for action. Is there anything I can do to help?
Such a direct, measurable offer.
It is.
Mm.
But sometimes people don't need help with the problem. They need help getting away from the problem.
Which brings us to perhaps the most powerful supportive statement, which gives the person permission to step back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need some space or time to relax? For someone who is constantly prioritizing external demands, that phrase can be a lifeline.
It really can.
It's validating the boundary they desperately need to set for themselves, but maybe feel guilty about.
It's powerful because it shifts the locus of control back to the person under stress. It acknowledges that their resources are depleted, and it gives them the social permission to initiate recovery without guilt.
Yeah.
These phrases essentially define the supportive role in a stress conversation, moving way beyond, tough it out.
Exactly. So now that we've successfully diagnosed the source and, acknowledged the need for relief, the next hurdle is communicating the steps needed for that recovery.
This is the language of resilience and relief.
I like that.
These are your verbal escape routes,
Mm.
the active phrases used when you are just hitting the mental eject button. They are boundary-setting sentences that verbally carve out necessary space.
The sources list 3 phrases that assert this immediate need for distance, and they are beautiful in their simplicity and directness. First, I need to take a break.
Simple.
Clear. Then, I'm going to step away for a moment. And recognizing the physical side of stress, I need some fresh air.
Those are all phrases of active disengagement. They communicate to your colleagues or your family, and maybe more importantly to yourself, that a boundary is being built right now.
No ambiguity.
None.
And beyond the immediate short-term boundary, there are the phrases of internal reorientation, the longer-term coping mechanisms that communicate your recovery process.
These are the proactive steps you communicate about your process. For example, I'm trying to relax and recharge. That phrase communicates intent and explains, a reduced level of engagement for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the goal is managing that cognitive overload we talked about, the focus shifts to process. I'm taking things one step at a time.
Oh, that last one, taking things one step at a time, that's key. It's so key because it replaces the overwhelming feeling of a massive workload with the achievable goal of just moving forward incrementally.
It manages the pace, not just the load.
Exactly.
And finally, the source is wrapped up with 4 fantastic examples of reflective self-talk. Now, these aren't necessarily for external communication, but for internal fortitude. They synthesize everything we've discussed.
They really do.
They combine the problem, the solution, and the acknowledgement of your own effort.
They are powerful sentences of self-compassion and resilience. We love the one that acknowledges the difficulty while affirming that resilience. I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I'm doing my best.
That's saying that to yourself.
It's such a powerful acknowledgement of effort that validates the struggle.
And the sentence that